So what I tell my agents when we do the mindset training, it's goals over feelings. So as a new agent coming in, you need to set very specific goals and you need to put them on a timeline. One of the problems is, guys, is that people come in and say, hey man, I want to make, I want to close 100 transactions. I'm like, what's your plan? I mean, what do you mean, what's my plan? How are you going to do it? Unless you have like a bunch of people that hand you business, or you have a builder that's going to give you 100 houses, you got to go out and get it. Here we go. Welcome to another episode of Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast. I am the king of the South Side, baby, Frank Montro. I am your guest. And with me, as always, are the infamous host, Tom and Mark. Let's go.
I'm ready.
Man, wow.
This guy wanted to be an accountant? What are we doing here?
Give me that spreadsheet, damn it.
Oh, man. Man, what a great episode. Tom
Took us too long. We saw Frank at about 12 meetups between this and the last time I had him on. So I kept going, hey, we got to get you on. And finally someone put it together.
Oh, that's great. What's going on, Tom? What's going on in your world?
We're actually busy. We keep getting these one-off acquisitions here, whether it be from Deal Machine, whether it be from a broker, but we're doing well here. And I don't know if it's just like luck or something. A letter written 2 years ago coming back to me. Like there's been just a nice little plethora of intake.
Game, baby.
Yeah,
it's a long game. It's creating relationships with agents.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now, where I'm actually getting a couple leads from the wholesale stuff we're working on, and that's how I'm going to get deals done this year. It's going to be have to go wholesale, like even myself.
You got to go off market, man. Yep. The MLS is dead. I mean, it's absolutely friggin' dead, man. I mean, it's hard. You shouldn't say it's totally dead, but I mean, then the competition's insane, man. You got like New Western and groups like that that are just.
Well, the competition, even on stuff like that I'm direct with, they're still talking to 3 or 4 other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's already
crazy.
It's already that competitive.
So it's already flooded, yeah.
That's where actually one of the things I've never thought about, but I'm starting to see it
Speed to lead, baby.
There's that, and there's also like, this is where the podcast actually helps, because then they Google my name, right? Like all of a sudden it's like the instant credibility that I never thought of.
Yeah, branding, the brand, yeah.
So. Well, yeah, so I could share some photos, but we actually got a decent amount going on, so we're feeling good over here.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's been a great start to 2025 with deals. So, and we got another industrial deal that we're looking at as well too. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's. I know we had our guest today wasn't short on words. He had a lot to share, so let's jump in. What's our housing provider tip of the week?
All right, so our housing provider tip of the week is if you have an issue that could potentially become an insurance claim. So let's just say your tenant reports to you today that there was a slip and fall, or maybe you had a backup that maybe your tenant might come back and try to push on you because it was your fault, because you've let something flood or a pipe break or something like that. It's important that you put your insurance agent on notice. Now, a lot of people, you're listening right now saying, oh, my rates are going to go up. Listen, your rates are going up no matter what. That's a different problem you have. But I've learned this one the hard way. I did not, a tenant had a slip and fall on a porch. She tripped on like a stair, and ultimately they did not cover the claim because at the time I found out about it, I did not put them on notice, and something didn't come up till like 6 months later. So if you have an issue that potentially today, last week I was talking to somebody, and this is how this tip came up. We had a slip and fall, and that was the first thing I said, hey, call your insurance agent up. And he came back with the same thing of, if my rates go up, like, no, you'd rather your rates go up than them not cover a $50, $60, $200,000 type claim that you're gonna have to cover out of pocket. That'll pretty much put you at BK. So make sure now, if you want to right now, talk to your insurance broker, because if you don't have a relationship where you could call your insurance broker should be able to take your phone call. You talk to them, and they know where to protect you and what not to do and so forth. So if you don't have a good insurance broker, make sure you go to Straight Up Chicago Investor and check out build your team out, and we have insurance brokers on there as well too. But make sure if you have an issue, put your insurance broker on notice to make sure you get covered in a claim.
All right, bring our guest in.
All right, there's not much of an intro because this guy speaks for himself. But 4 decades in the business, you kind of touch a little of everything. You have a bigger network than you are. Chicago is your network. Like it's huge how many people know and how many people you reach, man. And without further ado, Frank, man, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, man. It's great to be here, man. You're literally in the underground. I didn't know I was going down into cave. I feel like I'm in a cave, man. This is great. This is awesome, man. Normally I'm like, like in the studio stuff. This is like I feel like we're like in the secret hideaway or something. Bomb
It's a
shelter.
little
This-
speakeasy.
Love it. Yeah, speakeasy, if you will.
We
Love
get
it.
loud down here. We can do whatever we want down here, and the rest of the company does
right,
not bother
okay.
us.
That's good stuff, man.
I don't know. On the yelling welcome, sometimes we get a few complaints.
Yep. So
Oh, well,
getting-
they'll get over it. Good crying, they'll get over it.
well, man, you were on here episode 64, and that
Wow.
was I think it was May 2021. So,
And you guys cracked the 350? Is that where you at?
Yep, we just passed
That's
350.
insane,
so we'll
man.
hit
Okay.
400 this year too. So
Wow, okay.
we
Well,
have to throw. I think a party ends up. We'll have a party sometime in the fall.
he's
do it.
back.
Well, man,
right.
you coming on here, bringing your Celsius, we appreciate that. You're all hyped.
Just a new
Thank you,
sponsor.
sponsor. Right, sponsor Celsius Renovo, right?
Yeah, I got my Renovo mug here.
Yeah, right.
Working.
So, shout out to Renovo and Celsius.
But talk to us. You know, a lot of people know you. Maybe just
Yeah.
get a quick rundown of who you are.
Yeah, sure.
those couple of people that
my
been living
name
on a
is
rock.
Frank Montro. I've been in business for 43 years. I've closed over $2 billion worth of real estate. I've closed over 10,000 homes through my journey. I've seen it all. I mean, when I say I've seen it all, I get to tell you stories about walking through some vacant homes. That's not PG rated. Anywho, so moving on, I've also seen the market do all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been through 9 major shifts, been through a lot of micro shifts. So I am a student of the market. I always study the market, and I run my business a little bit differently than the average agent who's an order taker. Just kind of like when the business comes in, it's like ding, ding, table 3, sunny side up, I study the market. I do a lot of different things over the years, and that's really what's helped me stay on top of the game, because you really have to anticipate the market, because the market shifts I all the time. The market is never stagnant. Now, one thing I will say is this market here now, because of certain things that have happened in the past, is here to stay, and it is by far the most difficult market I've ever seen. Hence, over 71% of the agents last year did not close one transaction.
What is that traditionally? I know that number is probably pretty high, but
Yeah.
just like
So I mean, it's not even a third of that. So normally, and then that number is usually 2 to 4 units. It's not 0. So the 0, I don't even think they have a stat for 0. I've always saw 25% of the agents close 2 to 4 transactions. Now it's down to 71% or up to 71% at 0. So it is
that's bonkers.
Yeah,
Like, I'm trying to think of another example in the world where
yeah,
two-thirds of people don't do anything.
It's
That's
a
the
reflection.
80-20 rule
yeah.
the other way. Yeah, totally.
A lot of it has to do with back when the government started buying the MBSs, the mortgage-backed securities, and so that basically guaranteed people giving loans, FHA loans, you're going to get your money so you can lower your interest rates. So then the rates just kept going down, 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 because they're like, we don't care, because we don't need to get 7% anymore. And by the way, the historical average is 7.74%, according to Fannie Mae, the 30-year average. So keeping that in mind, all of a sudden the rate bounces down. It was like tinkering a little. It's just slightly below 3%. So now everybody's going crazy buying stuff, and values are going through the roof, because really what it boils down, it doesn't boil down to, what the price is or what the interest rate. It boils down to is what the payment is for that particular area, and what is the income for that particular area. It has really, when you talk about, oh my gosh, the prices are going way up, that's a factor, but it's not the entire factor. You have to look, when you're running your business as a CEO, agents that run, we're looking at the entire picture. So just because a property spikes up $100,000, I have to ask myself, well, what does that do? And that's what happened. So when rates went down to 3%, or 2.75, I mean, payments on $200,000 went down dramatically. So people were like, let's push the envelope. And since there was such a strong demand, appraisers were going up on values. So then when the government one day just decided, let's stop buying it altogether. Let's stop buying mortgage-backed securities. So they go from buying billions of dollars of securities and mortgages a month to none. And so that ran a shock wave through the community, and that's why rates spiked up overnight. And so then, of course, that brings out the fearmongers, and then all of a sudden people are thinking, people are saying, oh, well, the market's going to crash. And it's not crashing, it's just going back to the regular normal, because that was an artificial normal. But the problem is with that is it did a couple bad things. So it locked people into very low interest rate. And so, and then it also jacked price. A lot of areas, and even hard areas to move, went up overnight by 100. Englewoods, the areas that were traditionally considered hard to move, Englewood, Roseland, they spiked up literally within a month to 2 months over $100,000. And then when rates went back to the new norm, now those prices have to go back down to make the payment affordable for the community. And so that's, some areas have been adjusting. Now, areas like Englewood and Roseland were especially Englewood was grossly undervalued. So it's not taking as much of a hit as, like as a Roseland is. So, that's a major consideration for why the market is jacked right now and why this is going to be permanent. So our job as agents is to educate people about the payment, and just because they have a low interest rate, they have to look at and see what the payment is for where they're going to. And we try to educate people and let them know that you can't just rely just on a payment or just on the interest rate or just on the price. You have to look at the combination. So it's a tall order. And what happened was when the market went bonkers, agents became lazy. And I got to admit, there was so much.
What time frame are you speaking now when you say bonkers? What
just post-COVID.
Okay.
Like 2020, 2021-ish. It was when it was just going wild.
Yeah, you could make a lot of money being an order taker, as you referenced
yeah,
earlier.
exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. So there's a lot of agents. You see them on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. They're like, thank you, Lord, I'm finally getting my due. And I'm like, bitch, let's see what happens in a month, in a year from now. I know you. You're lazy as you know what. You ain't going to be doing much when this market goes back to normal. So especially when I see these prices going crazy, and I'm like, I know the rates aren't going to be there forever because I know the government's not going to be buying these things forever. So I'm anticipating a shock. So I'm telling my agents what we need to do and prepare for a major tsunami. And sure enough, it came, And so this last quarter, the third quarter, was the slowest quarter in 12 years. And that also was attributed to and I'm not going to get into politics and stuff, but, because of the uncertainty of the politics and the rates spiking up, the previous year, it just brought so much chaos and so much uncertainty that people took a bench. Buyers took a bench, and they're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the market's going to crash. I'm reading all the, the worst thing to do too is to read the news, because they make their money, but through sponsorships, and they get their sponsorships will pay if they get eyeballs. They get eyeballs by preaching fear. So they have to make up stories, and they have to sensationalize stories and make them larger than life and not really tell the truth. So our job is to really educate, buyers, sellers, investors with the truth. I got so many phone calls during those times. Is the market really going to crash? What's going to happen with my investments? And then you've got another fly in the ointment, right? You've got the taxes. So the south suburbs got hammered, and that was down the road. But I was going to bring this, but I'll bring it up now. So you look at the south suburbs now. So some of these investor groups that say, hey, buy a house, because houses are easier to rent. Of course they are, but you should be looking at like $500 a door, net $500 a door, and so which is cool, which is good. But what happens when your taxes go up $8,000? Now you're in the red. So I mean, this is one of the gems for today. For agents, if you're looking to drum up new business, start looking at landlords, especially landlords that own homes. I mean, I'm going back to all my investors that have properties in the city and in the south suburbs, and I'm talking to them, and all they're doing is they're getting the tenants' leases expire, and they evict them or get them out, and then they sorry guys, thought let me turn this thing off, and then they do a refresh, a refresh on the rehab they did 10 years ago, and then they put them out of market and get rid of them because they're not making any money, and the net, no matter, even if they raise the rent, they can't to market value. If they've been locked in, they're still not making money. It's not worth it. If you're making $100 a month, you're almost better off getting out now than just, if you have a problem with a tenant, you guys you guys know how hard it is to get people out of evictions and stuff like that. So I get, so that is a major opportunity. If you're an agent and you're looking, for an opportunity to grow your business, start communicating with landlords. And here's the other thing, so to you order takers out there, first, and before I get into this landlord thing, do yourself a favor, get out of the business. Okay, don't even waste your time. If you're going to remain an order taker, now's the time to get out of the business because it's going to get worse. And I feel sorry for agents that came in during COVID and that have brainwashed themselves into believing that everything's falling off the trees, because that's not the way it normally is. I mean, when I first got into the business, guys, interest rates were 14.5%. So I remember my third deal, I had a very savvy buyer, and he's like, okay. So I'm like, so your payment is $1,825. So he goes, that's great, Frank, but what's my interest rate? I said, your payment's $1,825. So he goes, you're not going to tell me my interest rate. I said, I'm going to leave that for the loan officer because that's his job. And I'm like, I'm like sweating. Is $1,825 work for you? He goes, yeah, of course. So I said, well, all right. So when you do your app, finish your app, he'll go over all that, lock that up. I'm like, whew. Because when I'm telling, and the year I started in '83, before that, the year prior to that, it was 18%. But we're still selling deals. And so, rather than focus on the rate, we focus on payments, and that's really, at the end of the day, if I tell a buyer, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, you're talking a lot about the agents that are in the market, but I know me and him get calls every week saying, should I get my license? Should I not get my license?
Yeah.
Like someone coming into the market or considering coming to the market, like, what does it take? What type of grit? What type of personality?
Right. Well, I got a whole.
that person calls you today.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
I got a whole lot of here for you to go.
What does it take to make it in today's market?
That's a great question. So, I would start off first with what I would do is I meet with them and I do a disc test. So the one thing that's true about the personality test is there's definite personalities that work well with sellers and work well with buyers and work well as admins. And when I've got somebody that comes in with an admin type personality, they test out, I don't hire them. So yeah, everybody wants to be a millionaire, billionaire. Everybody wants to be an investor. Everybody wants to be a flipper. Everybody wants everybody wants to do that. But very few people want to do the work. So it's really vetting out the people to see, first of all, do they have a personality match to that role? Because if I put them in the wrong seat, they will epically fail. And then guess what? And I'm sure, everybody's made bad hires. So when you make a bad hire and they fail, who's to blame? We are, right? So all we do is we add bad press to ourselves. So rather than hire the wrong hire, I go through a painstaking process. I want to make sure I got the right person. I want to make sure I put them in the right seat. So they may come in and they may say, hey, I want to work with investors. And, they're the chatty Cathy, high I personalities. I'm like, you are tailor-made. You are designed by God to work with buyers. So I'm gonna put you in the buyer role here, and then you can work, at a smaller capacity with investors. But if I put you with investors, you're gonna drive them crazy. I mean, I've got. I hate to say this, but I mean, so I have with my high I personality people because I'm a high D. I look at when they call, I look at my phone, and I'm like, I give them 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, I say, hey, I got a phone call coming in. I got to go. So right or wrong, it works for me, but it also makes me more efficient. So I would say number one is this. Number two is I want to know why they want to get in real estate. So if it's just I just want to make $1 million, they're not going to last. So I'll tell you my why. So my why is my family, which I'll take a bullet for them, and then my belief in my God, in Jesus Christ, that I was designed to do something here. And also, my why has been redefined. So when I was working, it was really kind of cool. I was just like, I'm having a lot of fun bringing, and I'm just warming up, but it's important I cover this. I'm warming up here. So and it's going to be hard for me to get through this because it's really changed my life. You have to find something that brings you to life. And this, helping this lady, this single mom who walked to this house, was just there for the ride. And she, the buyer said, this is way too small for us. She's looking at this like it's the Taj Mahal. And I looked at her and I said, Sarah, is this your home? And she goes, yeah, but my lender down the street said that they won't lend me a mortgage because I'm a single mom. Now, keep in mind, this is in 1985. So things obviously have changed since then. And so I said, do you trust me? And do you like me? And will you go with my lender? And she's like, yes to all the above. I got her house. It came out of closing. She looked up to God and she said, thank you, Father. And that, I just realized, holy cow, man, I have, I have a place in this world where I can help people. I fit. So this is something that had changed my life, and it changed this woman's life. And then I realized, I enjoy helping people on this level. But more importantly, so when I come in, I want to know, are you willing to create a why that moves you? Because I can cue this up anytime during the day, and I will go through a fucking brick wall for a buyer or seller. And then also, the other important thing is, this is the key, because everybody talks big why, big why, big why. Yeah, that's cool. I said, but you also have to improve your everything. So you have to, I constantly, I'm working on my mindset. I'm working on scripts. I'm working on different programs. I'll kind of touch on some of those things. So you just see everything that's out there. It's insane. So you have to have a big why. So when I'm checking everybody out, this isn't like hey man, come on in. Yeah, you need a job. It's no. So to make it through these difficult times, you have to weapon up internally first. And so I'm big into mindset. And so some of the other things, if I gotta just look through this stuff so I make sure I hit everything. It's creating excessive value, and we all start with value proposition. So my value proposition, for someone like say an agent coming in, if they want to join my team, is you can work on wholesale. I have a wholesale division. We've done last year we've done I think 124 transactions, and we're growing. I've got work with investors, so we do flip game. We do over 200 flips, work with buyers and sellers. And we, I have like crazy amounts of training. So you've got to build
real quick. I want to go down that rabbit hole a little bit, because people are hearing those numbers and saying, whoa, that's a lot. How are you guys getting your hands on this? Right? Like, how are you guys getting that
Okay.
many deals lined up because everyone here is scrounging for a deal.
Right,
So when you
right.
casually just
Okay.
say like, yeah, I got 200. I got like, we have a lot of listeners
Okay.
saying like, how the like. So like,
Yeah.
if you could share,
So
not
yeah.
to distract you, but let's.
Yeah, no. So I'll fast forward to that. So as far as like, if you're going to be a realtor and you want to, let me find all my notes so I cover everything on this. Okay, so you want, let's say you come in and you're a buyer's agent. You test as a buyer's agent. So what do? So right away, I mean, first of all, what they need to understand is most people look at this as a short game. Like I call somebody up and they're gonna respond right away,
Yeah.
and do a deal. I buy leads. I'm always buying it from different sources and looking at my numbers and my return on investment. But here's one thing I've learned, and I've bought from every place under the sun, from the Zillows, Facebook, Googles, and we're always mixing and matching. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, you guys tell me, do you know of any lead source that guarantees you every lead will close in 30 days? Right? No. But guess what? The order takers think if I give them a lead, they're going to close in 30 days. The average turnaround time of a lead is 6 to 18 months. So you need to understand, as a realtor coming in, you got to play the long game. And so you may not, there's always a break-in period, guys. So, I mean, it's, usually with any business, when I started off as an accountant at Arthur Anderson, they told me, you're not going to know this business for 6 months. You're not going to be proficient for 6 months. And that's with you, going all out. So not being an order taker. So as a agent coming in, you have to have a specific plan. So one of the things we do is agents will cold call. I have different resources, where we can chase very specific people. I subscribe to a couple of different websites, and so plus you can get lists. You can if you want to chase listings, you can go on. You can get for free. You can get PropWire. So I mean, right away, if you're an agent and you have no money and you want to get in the game, you need, first and foremost, you need to start talking to people, and you need to love people. And some agents come in, they're like, I'm afraid, but really, I look at fear just like anything else in life. Any emotion has a negative and a positive side. So you can either look at fear and say, hey, I'm just going to let this cripple me, or I can say, I'm using fear as a launching pad.
Yeah, I feel alive.
Yeah. So I'm going to bust through my fear. I look at, a lot of people don't understand. They make their decisions based on their emotions. I read a stat, I don't know how true this is, but it's probably pretty close to the reality. It said that 95% of people make their decisions based on emotions, or 95% of your decisions, are based on emotions. So, hey, I'm not really feeling like making calls today. Too bad, man. Too bad. Toughen up, man. I said, so what I tell my agents when we do the mindset training, it's goals over feelings. So if I want to go back to my big why and power up, and then I'm in a zone where I'm ready to break through a wall, bust through a wall, then I look at my goals. So my goals today as a new agent coming in, you need to set very specific goals, and you need to put them on a timeline. So we have daily goals. So like my daily goal today is to get one listing. So I have an exact time frame where the clock stops ticking. So one of the problems is, guys, is that people come in and say, "Hey, man, I want to close 100 transactions." I'm like, "What's your plan?" I mean, what do you mean, what's my plan? How are you going to do it? Tell me how you're going to get those and we're so we have I'll continue with the different types of prospects. You have to unless you have like a bunch of people that are going to hand you business, or you have a builder that's going to give you 100 houses, you got to go out and get it. And so this is where the problem lies with a lot of these order takers.
Because if you start today fresh and you don't have that builder or that developer or your family in your pocket buying stuff, there's a good chance, like based on the lead times you're talking about, I always tell people, you're probably not going to, if you close a deal the first year, like that's awesome. Like you're winning. So like you have to, that long game, that conversation, as you're saying, so important. It's like, if you can't commit 2 years to this, like don't to not getting a deal,
exactly.
like, don't waste your time.
I'll tell you what hard work is for me. So when I got in this business, I was working for an accounting firm, top accounting firm in Houston, Texas. And I just realized I got no business being an accountant. I'm not an accountant. And then I did the personality test later.
Man, like you as an accountant just sounds hilarious. Like, it just does not.
So here you get a take.
I looked at your LinkedIn, and it is you were an accountant for 2 years. I had to go validate.
So check this out. So I got out, and then years later I took a personality test, and it was a very complex deep dive. So in that test, it gave a printout. 1 to 50, what I'd be really good at it, and 50, what I'm not wired to do. Number 48 was accounting. I'm like, son of a, all this education. But see, but very importantly, my why was to make money. And see, that's where I screwed up. So I compromised. I didn't look and see. So that's why you get at your personality fit. I'm a high D, man. I got no business, being in. I got to be more of a high SC, where I'm anal retentive with numbers and stuff like that. I'm get away from me. I just want to go find. I'm a finder. I'm a hunter, man. Just give me my weapons and clear a lane, and I'm gonna go destroy everything, and I'm gonna kill everything. I get somebody come back and you guys clean it up and put it in the fridge, man. Let me go kill some more. So in this vein, so when you come into this business, you have to figure out, are you a finder or a minder, or can you do both? So when I was working at Arthur Andersen, we went to, as a matter of fact, their training school was up in St. Charles, even though I was down in Houston, Texas. They said, they walked in, one of the big top managing partners walked in and said, "Welcome to Arthur Andersen. Everyone in this room is in the top 1% of your class." Just an interesting fact. Here's another fact. Only 1% of this room is going to make managing partner. I'm like, what the? And so he goes, I'm going to explain to you what we're looking for. So I couldn't get my notepad out fast enough. I'm listening. And I like the guys because he's very simple. He said, we're going to take 1% of 3 categories: finder, minder, grinder. He says, now, obviously, they overlap somewhat. And I thought to myself, well, I'll work everybody in this room. But then I'm thinking to myself, I got a guy from Wharton School of Business and Harvard on my sides. I'm like, these guys are like way smarter than me, but I'm smart enough to do this business. But then I thought, what am I, man? I'm really a finder, man. Like when I was in college, I used to run all these like keg parties and dances. I raised money for the local charities and stuff. I did it on my. Nobody told me to do it. I just want, hey, look, they need a food bank. This food bank's hurting. I said, let's. I went and I organized this group. We did a dance-a-thon. I raised $13,000 in this small Southern Baptist school in Greenville, South Carolina. I mean, I just did it. Then I'm starting to recant my past. I'm like, I'm a finder, man. That's what I do. But then I got in here. I'm like, this ain't, I'm doing all grunt work, your first 3 years and stuff as an accountant. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going nuts. I can't be locked up in a room like this all day with no windows, nobody to talk to, man. That's exactly, I'm looking at balance sheets, and P&Ls all day. I'm just going nuts. And so I said, I got to get out of here. And then
that's how my journey was too. So
was it really?
Sitting there, my third year of DeVry, I went to DeVry.
Okay.
All technology. I'm sitting there and I'm like,
no, you're not.
There's no girls in here. I know.
That's strike one.
Like
two,
no one
3.
here is really.
That's
even,
1, 2, and 3.
No one here is even talkative. I'm the only white guy, and
yeah.
I'm like, I cannot sit in the back phone room with these guys for the rest of my life. Like I got to get out of here. Like that. I had told. Like,
wow.
same
So
moment,
you get it. You get it, man. You get it. So yeah.
But why real estate? Like, how does that enter your mind here?
So I just started looking around, and I thought, why is there a hole? There's literally a hole in my heart. I just was empty. I was void. I mean, I like accounting, and I was very good at it, and they liked me there, and they treated me like royalty. So, I mean, I have nothing negative to say about it. Arthur Andersen was a great company to work for. but I was not happy. I was miserable. And I'm like, why am I miserable? Because I'm not I don't feel like I'm helping people. You know, I was a auditor for Shell. And the first day on the job, they said, if you find a $25,000 error, write it off. I'm like, what? You know, so, I mean, it's just such a, like, institutional, just caring, not feeling. I just was missing that touchy-feely interaction with people. So I started calling all my college buddies up. And what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you, Connecticut, you're here, you're California. And then I talked to my roommate. He's up here. And he's a real estate. So I decided, okay, let me check it out. I flew up, loved it, man. I
Have you
shadowed
been to
him.
Chicago yet or no? Besides that St. Charles, had you had exposure to Chicago?
Well, that was pre-St. Charles. So that was, I mean, I wouldn't even, oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that was my fault. No, I've been to Chicago before, but I mean, when I went up to St. Charles, it was like 2 below, you know, so I mean, I didn't even get a chance to explore Chicago or enjoy it. It was so cold that week we were up here. You know, the only thing was, was my friend that week was a bottle of tequila. You know, was about it. So we just sipped on some tequila and just had some fun. But we didn't go outside that week, so I didn't really get the Chicago culture. But when I came up here, it was the middle of early summer, and then the last day in June 1983, I made the decision to come up here and start my journey in real estate, and I've loved it ever since. I'm like, yeah, but so to your point, I made a decision that I was going to work for 1 year and determine is this my, and it took me 6 months before I got my first paycheck. But this is how I did it. This was not around.
No.
Computers, not around. You know, MLS was a book. Yeah, it came out once a month. So the day you get it, more than likely most of the properties are still there. But I mean, they can still be gone as the guy enters it in, and they got to print the book. He may sell it on his own. The only way you can get business is through calling, running ads. Well, so the Sun Times was the only form for the South Side, and the Tribune for the North Side. So depending where you had your listing, signs were a big deal back then too. Not so much today because of technology, and with all the break-ins and everything on vacant houses, it's less of a tool to sell. So now it's more technology. It's people are looking online. So it's like you don't even need to be in the area. I mean, you look at all these wholesalers that are virtual. They're across the country, and they're
Pre-recession. You were the master of having the big ass signage in the front yard with the two
I had
poles.
the big,
You had the 4x6
ugly green
billboard.
sign. Yeah, people say, "Oh, I know you're the guy with the big." Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, so and that's really what put me on the map was that branding. But now it's a target for immigrants, and it's a target for squatters.
Yep.
So we just got too many break-ins. So we're only in certain areas we put the signs in, but it's not. Yeah, the signs are just not a thing anymore. So we at least in the city of Chicago, very very few guys want their signs in Chicago. Now we'll do it in the suburbs all day, but yeah, even in some of the suburbs, you're asking for trouble. So we kind of it's a case by case scenario. But yeah, so as an agent, you're coming in. We need to know who you are. We need to know how committed you are as well too. So we need to know what are you willing to do. Because when agents come in, I don't want to cold call. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You've got to have every top producer that I know does a minimum of 3 different types of lead generation. So if agents are coming in and they just want, I just want to have you give me the business. I'm like, no, doesn't work that way. You get rewarded. The top agents on my team are the ones that are first in line for the best leads. My first year in this business, I had a rotary phone.
There you go.
And I talked.
Slow down your cold
Slow
call
down,
volume.
baby. Yeah, I know none of this. And I didn't have like 3 rotary phones where I'm doing like, like multiple dials or something at once. So there's none of this multiple dial stuff. So I had a rotary phone, and I made one decision. All I'm going to do, I don't know anybody here. I'm coming in a total stranger and didn't go to school here, nothing. So I thought I got to put myself on the map. So the only way I could do it is by cold calling and talking to people. So I cold called for a year. That's all I did, from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, 6 days a week. Now, I was single, and so I didn't have any kids. I didn't have any commitments. So Sunday, I went to church and I played golf. I did my thing. So I did my personal stuff. So that's one of the things that I recommend too with as an agent, even if you're new or you're a seasoned, experienced agent. I always tell my agents every year, especially in the beginning of January, you have to set a schedule. And when you do your annual schedule, you first and foremost is you set your time, your personal time and your family time on your calendar first. And that's not negotiable, because you have to have a life, because this business could just eat you alive. I know there's some of the top guys I know, and they'll, we know who that, you probably, who I'm probably talking about. All they do is work. And I mean, I do have no shut off switch as well. So I have to plan. So, and the best thing I did, here's the other thing too. So if you have kids, and if you don't plan, you say, hey, I got my date night with my wife. Cool. But guess what? The kids have an attitude towards you because they feel neglected. That gets shifted down to the wife. So then that date night gets canceled out. So you have to do, if you get married and you have kids, you have to make a commitment to them. And this business can eat you alive. And it's very, very addictive. I love what I do. I could work day and night, but I have to make time. When my sons come in town now, when they tell me I'm readjusting my schedule to make sure I have the majority of the day with them. And yeah, I mean, if my phone is, I'm just in a reactive mode. I'm not in a proactive mode. If I got a call coming in and the deal's falling apart, I got to take it. They understand that. So, but I'm not going to be sitting here making calls in front of them. That's not going to happen. So yeah, that's super, super important. So yeah, getting back to your question. So cold calling is important. Look, if you want to get buyers, sellers, investors, especially, start going to meetups. Go to meetup.com, and then you research whatever. I mean, you can go to Chicago Real Estate Investors, and there's just so many investor groups. Inside of those investor groups, there's wholesalers, there's hard money lenders, there's investors.
We have 27 of them listed at straightupchicagoinvestor.com.
So go to Straight Up Chicago's website and use that. You don't even need to go to meetup.com then. There's your local meetup.com right there.
Yeah. But it's crazy. This is also like, everyone hearing this is nodding their head going, yeah, I know this, but no one does it. Right? It's so simple. Like, I don't have lead flow. Make calls. Like, it's just so simple.
The key,
the key is, and you hit the nail on the head. We could really just say, we could really just make this a 2-minute conversation and start off and say, the reason why you're epically failing is because you don't do the work. Like people ask me, how do I automate the system? I said, automate what? You don't work. I said, you have nothing to automate. I had somebody that said, hey, they read the Keller Williams book, and they're like, listing leads leverage, man. He goes, I love that leverage. I'm like, bro, you got nothing to leverage, you dumb shit. So I was at a conference with this guy. I'm like, wake up, bro. You got to get to business first, then you can leverage. People want to put the cart before the horse. So our biggest enemy is comfort. So we are naturally, unfortunately, our systems are naturally bent to default us to fail. We are naturally bent to be fearful. We're naturally bent to go enter the comfort zone, and we're fearful because we don't want to fail. So our systems protect us from we don't run out in the middle of the street on a busy day because we're afraid that we're going to get killed. Same thing with real estate business. People don't make the cold calls because they're afraid of rejection. But once you understand, once you rewire your thinking, like when I started cold calling 9 to 9, and hey, look, I'm human. It gets it wears you out when you hear no. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. So if my average commission is X amount of dollars, and back then it wasn't a whole lot because the prices were a lot less back then. But let's say each no. When I do my calculate my numbers, each no is $50. I say, am I going to make a call to hear somebody say no for $50? Damn straight I am. So now all of a sudden I was like, let's go, baby. And so then I would have fun too when people are like screaming and yelling at me. Like one time I had somebody call me out and said, look, MF, don't ever effing call back here again. You blankety blank. So I just, I was just kind of in a wild mood. I'm like, yeah, like it. So I call back like 2 minutes later. He goes, didn't you hear what I said? I said, yeah, but I thought maybe you changed your mind by now. The guy just lost it. We ended up talking for 15 minutes, and he became a referral partner. The guy loved me, man. He's like, dude, I love you. Now, then I get comments like, you better not come over here and sell my house. You don't want none of the smoke. I said, you got a barbecue going on? He's like, fuck. But I mean, I was, I didn't let, the key is to mentally toughen up. And so we take, these people don't know who you are. Why, I tell my agents, why are you getting offended? They probably got, other people. I mean, I do the same thing. I tell people to kick rocks or I hang up on them. Once I hear, how you doing? I'm like, great. How are you? Thanks for asking. I'm like, oh, why did I, I just hang up.
The one thing I realize for me, because I do a lot of cold calling, like recruiting for our team.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing is the first call. I get the randomest shit done that I've been putting off for the
I'm gonna
last.
Start getting my taxes ready.
Yeah.
You start finding excuses.
It's once I get that one phone call, man, I get that energy.
Isn't that funny?
It's that one first phone call.
So that's the other cool thing. So people are afraid to make, so I met with his agent. So I had a couple of friends in the industry said, hey, this girl's really like screwing up and she's not doing anything and she's got, amazing person. So I met with her. I spent a couple hours with her and I said, listen, the requirement for this meeting is you need to talk to 20 people tomorrow on the phone cold calling. And if not, I will never talk to you again. Don't even look at me. Don't even, you see me in the crowd. Don't, I was messing with her. So she calls me the next day after the end of the day. She goes, hey, this isn't that bad, man. I was expecting, this to be a lot worse. Fear is imagination. We have colorful imaginations. Like, you're not going to die. I remember I had this one guy, and he got that same line. He says, yeah, this guy said he's going to shoot me if I come over. I said, do you really believe that? Do you think a guy's going to shoot you if you knock on a door? I said, when does that happen? He goes, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, man. What am I thinking, man? I said, your imagination's running wild, bro. I said, relax. But I mean, once you make, it's always that first call. It's that icebreaker. And you're like, I'm still alive. I didn't die. All the stuff that the committee is saying in my head is all a bunch of BS. And this is a requirement. And so, when we cold call too, so I mean, there's a lot of good, a lot of good openers too. When you talk to people, hey, Frank Montro from Keller Williams. Before you hang up, can I ask you a question? So that's from Brandon Mullerin. So if you're a new realtor getting in the game, you need to learn scripts. So you need the other thing is once you know what you're going to say, you just have to get your one foot in the door. And that Brandon Mullerin online, a reverse selling is a script master. And you go to YouTube and it's Brandon Mullerin. Search him out. Memorize his scripts, practice the scripts with another nugget, man. I'll give an example. So when I went, of course, me not being the accountant that I am, what I did was nobody told me this. So when I went into interviewing, I I bought these books, and this is back in the day, man. I mean, this is way back before you guys were, prehistoric, Tarzan and Jane time. So, I'm like, I worked my butt off. I got an A average. I'll be damned if I'm going to blow it at an interview. What if I get a cold and I can't think or whatever? So I bought 3 books. I read them on interviewing and questions. So I had like 75 questions. I took like 50 of them, and then I wrote my answers out, and I memorized them, and I practiced it in front of a mirror. So, and I did it literally every day. I mean, I didn't do all 70, but then I had my roommates quiz me. So I walked into these interviews inside like, "What's up, bitches?"
Yeah, preparation equals confidence.
Yeah, here we come. And so, I even had talk about an opening line. I like, "Mr. Anley, my name is Frank Montro. I'm the best person you're going to interview today." Now, imagine that with the typical account. Yes, I mean, the first guy was like this. So I'm sitting there white knuckling it. Don't lose it, Frank. Don't lose it. And the Academy performance goes to Frank Montro. Thank you very much. Yay! Throw money. But I just crushed it, man. What is Frank? What's your biggest weakness? I had to exhale down. I'm like,
You
the
practiced the
nervous.
exhale and everything.
I had the nervous back. I said, listen. I said, I'm a perfectionist. I won't finish. Sometimes I get up at 4:30 every morning, in which I did back then, and I study and I study and I study, and that's why I get straight A's. But why? What happens is when I get a problem, I can't figure it out. I may be up till midnight till I get it done. So you see the guys taking these notes down. He's like thinking to himself, "This is his weakness." I'm like, dude. I'm like, shh, reeling you in, man. Shh, But I mean, it's the same thing with real estate as an agent. If you don't know what to say, if you don't know how to ask, and really, what is real estate? What is selling? It's asking the right questions to get a person to self-discover. I can't tell you, because you, Tom, you're the smartest guy in the world to you. You know more. You trust you, Mark, more than anybody else. And so do I. I trust myself more than anybody else. So if you ask me questions to help me to self-discover whether this is the right house for me. And so, even when I first was shadowing agents, I came in, I'm watching these top guys at the time. I'm like, what the hell? So they're walking in, they're walking around, living room, dining room, kitchen. And I'm thinking to myself, my smart ass, oh, that's the kitchen? I thought that sink was the toilet, man. I'm glad I was about ready to come back and take a leak in there. I mean, come on, man. So then I thought, wait a minute. So what are we doing here? We're creating excessive value. So I've learned through my life, everything was value, value, value. So I thought to myself, how can I, and so this is how I sold houses back then. This is how I start crushing it. And this is what I recommend to agents out there, is that you sell by asking questions. So I would come in, I always go like, okay, we walk up to the house, I'm about to take you on a journey. So they look at me like, what the? We're just looking at a house. We're going to enter into the Frank Montro lifestyle tour. And I go like this, and they're like, this dude is crazy, man. I said, follow me. So then I get inside. I'm like, okay, obviously this is the living room, guys, right? I said, now I want you to tell me how you're going to live in it. How big's your couch? So 8 feet, and there's 2 high school boys. Y'all, come over here, spread your arms. And so then I'm like, okay, now we wanted you to go over there. Don't put your arms down. Move over. So they're like all silly and stuff. And so I created an experience. But I had them tell me, a lot of times we might go into a room and I get them to tell me how they're like, oh, this isn't going to work. But man, this house is beautiful. The rehab's, but this lot, so I'm like, so do you see what I mean when I talk about lifestyle tour? I need you to figure out. You need to tell me if this house is going to work for you, because if you just get enamored by the quality of the construction and the beauty of the construction, you look beyond. You're looking at a vacant house. You don't see the furniture in there. If it's not staged, then it's too late after you buy it.
Functionality.
So you see what I'm doing here for you. You see why you're paying me the big bucks and why you're going to give me your next morn. So or at least give me 3 referrals. How about that? So that's important. It's important to to create excess. Everything I do is excessive. So, I mean, and so when I get an agent, let me just kind of quickly run through this stuff too as a new agent coming in the door. Free stuff. Cold calling is free. Going to meetups are free. Going to seminars are free. Finding a good loan officer with crazy programs. Do a seminar. You can do online seminars free. You don't even need any money to do an online seminar. Start building your brand. Let people know what you do. Go to network events. They're free. Meet people. Pass your cards out. When you go to events, if you don't target the people that you're looking to grow your business, then shame on you. When I go to events, and I'm like the speaker there, I'm going to talk to the guy in charge, and I'm going to say, who do I need to talk to? Who are the three biggest people in this room that I need to talk to? I'll go in, or if I'm looking for wholesalers, who are the top wholesalers in this room that I need to talk to? If you don't do that, shame on you. Then you need, look, this is what you need to do is listen, new investors or new agents, you need to create a sense of urgency. This is life or death. I'm telling you to get out of the business. And I'm being sincere. If you don't get out of the business, then you need to create this intense, excessive life or death flight. Ed Milet, a great business coach, calls it all the top people he knows operates in a state of desperation. What does Mark Cuban say? I work like there's someone going to take my business away. They're working on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take my business away from me. Does that sound like somebody that's cruising, that's kind of a billionaire, and it's kind of like late? No, that's what got him where he is, and that's what gets him to stay on top of the mountain. So, if you want to get on top of the mountain, you need to move with that type of thinking. We talked about cold calling, meetups, seminars, networks, open houses. My God, I mean, they're go to open. How I started my business is I would go to open houses, and I would do it on busy streets, and I put a sign up, and I do all my calling from there. So if I had if they had a landline there, I'd ask the guy to put a landline in, and then I just do. I say I'm going to work this until we sell it, but you got to put a landline in.
Our listeners don't know what a landline is.
Yeah, right.
Also, it's funny because you would see the actual calls made every month too.
Yeah.
That's true.
This
Yeah.
guy was hustling.
Nowadays too, door knocking is pick an area, door knock, specific people, which I'll get into in a second. When you do an open house, you can do call arounds too. So there's white pages and a couple other resources. Coles directory we have that we'll vet out the do not calls people. And then you need to be building your database and create a database. Take your phone. Here's your database right here, your phone. Start calling that today. You want to get a warm up, you're afraid to cold call, start calling your friends and tell them you're in real estate and ask, it's real simple. Always ask for referrals. So, for me, like I'm reaching out to your community right now. We're always looking for properties. So we are looking for distressed properties. If you have any, call me at 708-307-0777. See, what I just did was ask for a referral. If you're talking to somebody, a stranger or a friend, your database, hey, I'm a real estate. I just joined GC Realty and Development Inc. LLC. My bad. By the way, if you had to think about it, do you know of anybody today that might be interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate? I can't think of it. What about yourself? Have you thought about, I know you own a home. Have you thought about selling it? Dude, I was in LA Fitness on Sunday morning in the sauna. Some guy walks in. I don't know him from Adam. I'm talking to him. Next thing I know, he's going to list his house with me. And also, and it's just a conversation, man. Wherever you are, you're in line. If I'm in line with Starbucks, man, you ain't getting away from me. I'm in line at Costco. Hey, what's going on, man? You nice coat. What do you do for a living, man? You're CEO somewhere. You got, you dress really not. Start a conversation, compliment, and give them a card, and then, the key though always is, no matter what you do, is you want to get their information. So if you're at an open house, if you're not collecting their information and adding them into a database, then shame on you. And I tell my agents this: the main reason for open houses is not to sell a house, because the majority of people who don't buy the house that look at, it's to create appointments. So they're there. Hey, we got a lot more homes. We get off-market inventory. When can we meet at Starbucks? Can I buy a cup of coffee? Where do you live? You live in Beverly. Why don't we meet at 103rd and Longwood at the Starbucks there? How's your schedule look tomorrow? You got to set appointments up and create relationships. This is a relationship business. The day of the order taker is dead. If you're an order taker, get out of the business. Otherwise, I would recommend that you have to figure out if you're a finder or a minder, or maybe a little bit of both. If you're not a finder, then you need to find someone that is and partner up with them. If you're a great minder, partner up with somebody, or join a team that has a lot of benefits, like my team, or join GC Realty, because you guys are always looking for something. I know you guys are always growing like me. So, look, you can promote yourself on social media. There's a lot of people that get, but social media is not the end-all game. A lot of people are like, I'm just going to go on social media. I mean, how many deals did you get last year from social media? 2? I said, exactly. So, yeah, you have to advertise like crazy on social media, on Facebook and Instagram and
you have
Google,
to find a way to engage.
YouTube.
So it doesn't
you
always
got to
follow.
money.
You have to ask them all the questions that you're asking them in the Costco line.
Exactly. And the key with social media, and this is where people fail, you got to be consistent. And now videos are huge. When people see who you are, and that you're a cool person to work with, they're going to want to do business with you. If all you do is post the stuff you did, then people are like, oh, this is just a business page, man. They're not gonna follow you. Some of the other stuff, that you want to track landlords. And like I said, you can go on PropWire, and that's a free service, and chase landlords, chase people with high equity in their properties. People that have, people in the south suburbs, man, call them, ask them, I have somebody on my team that used to work, for the city of Chicago, for Larry, I can't think of his name. They challenge the taxes. And so she's coming on my team. So we can help anybody challenge their taxes every year. And so, that's one way to come in. If you figure out how to do that, let's say you go to Cal City, that you got hit, and so then you go, you find out how, where to go, the procedures and all that. Then you call people around. You can cold call people around and say, hey, I've got this free service. Can you use it? And and then, by the way, are you thinking about maybe selling I notice your taxes have doubled. Have you had any thoughts about selling? But you provide a service, you provide value, you provide excessive value. You want to stay there? Let me help you bring your taxes back to what they were, close to what they are. Let me help you appeal your taxes. So, and I'll do it for free. But I'm doing it for free because I create a relationship. That's, you can do that. I tell you right now, talking to renters. So the hottest thing. Okay, so this would be my last thing.
Yes.
This is hot right now. The latest and greatest thing is there's a program out there, and it's coming out. There's a couple of loan officers that have it. One of the loan officers is actually coming to talk to you about it. It's called Rent to Own. So, there used to be a company that did it, but they only went in high-end areas. They're going in the city. They're going to the south side. You need to have a 580 credit score or better. You need to be 1 year on the job. You need to, you could be I-10. You could have one trade line, and you can buy that. They will buy the house for you, and you can rent it for up to 10 years. And then after 10 years, you get the deed. Within the first 10 years, once you get in a position where you can get a loan, you can refi it. So at that time, you're still building equity. And if you sell it as a renter, you keep the equity as well, too. So it's crazy. It's hotter and hot now. It's the latest thing. So attacking renters into home ownership now. And renters that are like, hey, I got rejected because I'm only been on my job for 2 years. What's your credit score? Gotcha. and you got to have a 50 DTI. So that's pretty good. I mean, a lot of these other programs are like 45, 43.
Yeah.
I mean, so listen out there. If, Tom hit it on the head, you got to do the work. So if you're committed to work your butt off, you can be successful in this business. If you're not, get out. And I mean that. I mean that sincerely. I mean, because you will do the same thing you did last year. The business is there. That artificial time period where everything's falling off the trees is gone, and it's gone for a long time before they do something crazy like that again. So the market is running, and there's issues with the market. Rates are not going to spike down anything dramatic. I mean, it's going to be very volatile. Everything I've read is going to be very volatile. And end of 2025, 2026 rates should start, ticking down. But this year, it's going to be kind of right around, in the sixes and maybe, tick up to the sevens. And so, shop and find lenders that are aggressive with rates too. There's some out there that are operating in the low sixes now. So, and some that are in the high, that are in the high sixes or in the low sevens. So you got to do your homework, and you got to work hard. You got to work hard on this business because those days of easy are over. So, so to answer your questions, this is what it takes. So if you're going to be a realtor in this business and you're not a finder and you don't want to partner up with anybody and you just want to wait for stuff to fall off the trees, go find another job and then wait for the cycle to come back where, in 20 years from now, where it's like that. And then you can come back in and be a realtor, but having your license doesn't make you a realtor. Joining a company doesn't make you a realtor. It's the activity that defines you, who you are. It's your actions and your thoughts that define who you are. So the top agents in the business do the high ROI activity, and they feed their brain with the best thinking out there. They feed their brain to accelerate their actions, not to discourage them. So,
yep.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Wrap up questions. Fire round. You ready? You've answered these before, but
fire away.
What's your competitive advantage? 4 decades later, how have you been able to do this while people listen and wish they could achieve this?
So a lot of it. So a couple things. Excessive value.
Rapid fire.
Okay. So real quick answer.
Yep.
Build a referral base. Build database. Build referral base. Referrals come in every day.
Perfect.
Love it. All right. What is one piece of advice you would tell someone that is yet to buy their first property here in the Chicagoland area?
Partner up with an expert, because this is not HGTV. This is very, very difficult. And I've seen, a third of my clients are real estate agents. They rather draw off my 43 years of experience than roll the dice and lose $40,000.
10 years ago when we were doing flips, you were selling our properties.
You're right.
Yep,
Right.
Yep. So
Right.
exactly. What do you do for fun?
I'm a big time golfer. So I've a lot of people don't know I've won tournaments. I used to be a scratch golfer.
What's the best course around here? What do you love playing?
I like Medina.
Yeah.
So you guys are. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I want to get out of the car and kiss the ground when I drove by there. Southside. I love Bev.
Yeah.
Beverly's really cool. Olympia Fields is dope. I'm a member of Prestwick. It's a good everyday golf course. It doesn't beat me up. If you want to play a unique golf course, in Orland Park, Crystal Tree is like something you've never seen before. The topography is all hilly and side hill shots, and it reminds me a lot of the East Coast in Connecticut where I grew up and played golf.
All right. Give us a good book, podcast, or self-development activity that you'd recommend to our listeners.
I would recommend exactly what to say. If you're a realtor coming into the game, that is for my team. That is a required book. Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones. It teaches you how to sell, and it's a super easy read.
It's an hour long on audio.
It's insane. Yeah,
it's single speed.
It's insanely easy to read, and it is an absolute game changer. I got my kids reading it too, so they're I should have my wife read it, but she's pretty good. she's got her act together.
Other than yourself or your team, give us a valuable resource you can refer to other Chicago real estate investors.
I would say a lender. Could I do a lender?
Yeah,
whatever.
Okay. So Martin Lorenzen from NAF, New American Funding, he's got the rent-own program, and he's He's crazy, man. He supports agents. I mean, if you're an agent and you're looking for a lender that will match, will help you and support your activities, the guy is he's crazy, man. It's just crazy the stuff he does, and he's got all the programs. He's got all the toys.
I think you connect to me. He's gonna be on the show. I think
He's going to be on the show. Yep.
So
Awesome. Frank, you provide a ton of value to our listeners. How can they learn more about you? And is there any way they can provide value to you?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Great question. So you can always reach me on my cell phone. Best thing to do is text me first because I'm in a lot of meetings like this. 708-307-0777. I'm always looking for, wholesale properties nonstop. We can buy endless. So if you have anything, if you have a tough property to move, I mean, I've got a whole, I can teach you how to like novate the property, subto the property. If you're just looking to, if you're having a hard time moving your property. Also, if you're looking to join a team, have a conversation with me. I can do a deep dive and tell you everything that we do, and maybe we have a match. But if you're not a hard worker, don't call me because because I will find you out and I will kick you off the team. So I mean, but if you are, man, I'll take you to the moon.
if they made it this far in the episode, they know that. They know that.
Probably
That's
so.
a prereq.
Probably so. Right.
All right. Chicago Fact. Who are we playing for? Who's our sponsor?
All right, so we're playing for Jamie Foltz. So, Frank, if you or me get this question right, Jamie will get a $50 gift card brought to you by Lavelle Law
I hope so, Sam.
and Chance Badisher.
All right.
All right, sounds good. I did not know this answer, but I think you guys have a better shot at this than I do. All right, King of the South Side. So my question is, you're going to have multiple choice. What is the furthest south east-west running street within the city limits? So what's the furthest south street that's still within Chicago? And I'll give you options. 127th, 130th, 138th, 142nd.
In Chicago?
Yeah,
127th.
Still within
It's
city
got to be.
limits.
So yeah, because 130th is like suburbs, Blue Island, Allsup. It's 127th. What else?
130, 138, 142.
I'll say
Yeah,
127. You say
127. No, dude. It's
But you
one-
say 130 just in case.
Okay, so we can do different.
Yeah.
Do different. Okay.
Keep in mind, if it goes through a burb, it still might touch the city at some point.
Okay.
So was that a softball?
Wait a minute. Okay. Well, then maybe I should do a different because I'm just trying to think east west. So if I go west, 127.
So you go right below 127th. You're like in Dalton, Riverdale.
Yeah, I don't.
But I guess you got Hedgewick.
Oh yeah, right on, dude.
So Hedgewick goes all the way to 130.
That's even further south. Wait. What? Give me
I
the
want
numbers
this guy. I want
again.
Chance to give him 50
yeah,
bucks.
over east,
I'm
bro.
trying, man.
I was
yeah.
just there. Okay, over
Correct.
east.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
guys-
So what are the last two
It's
options?
not 127.
It's not.
138th, 142nd.
All right, so you say 142nd. I'll say 138.
I think it's 138 now. That I
It
think.
is 138.
Yeah. All right, let's do this, man.
All right.
Let's do
I knew
this,
where your
man.
head's right when you said, I was like, no, you got to go.
Pegwish is the key, man.
Totally
yeah.
forgot about that. All right,
Yeah,
Jamie.
'cause I'm
Alton
over
Gardens,
in
like,
west, like where I'm Western Avenue and stuff. So
I was thinking
all-
Alton Gardens.
But yeah, and then it hits Dalton.
yeah.
All right, Jamie, you get $50 gift card brought to you by Lavelle Law. So thank you.
Take us out. Yeah,
that's
we're
great.
we're $50 for what?
$50 gift card just for being part. Oh, she bought a shirt on Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast.
okay.
You get a chance to
I
win.
never
if you
sure.
just
Yeah,
get
I
it
thought
right.
it was a restaurant or something. I said, bring us, we eat.
All right. All right, Frank, thanks for coming on again. Tom,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Always a pleasure.
Listeners, it's one tap of your thumb. Please leave us a review, and that helps spread the word, whether it be iTunes or YouTube, whatever. Help us out and we share it. And Frank, thank you. Tom, thank you. Listeners, we'll see you next week.